We often think of enlightenment as this single straight path, but what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're diving into a fascinating teaching from one of the Buddha's closest disciples, Ananda, who lays out this incredible roadmap with not one, but four distinct ways to reach ultimate liberation.
I mean, just listen to that. That is such a bold and confident statement. Ananda isn't just saying, hey, here are a few good ideas. He's making a definitive claim. Based on his direct experience, anyone he's ever seen reach the final goal has done it through one of these four specific methods. That really sets the stage for everything we're about to explore.
All right, so here's our plan. We're going to start with the two essential building blocks of the whole practice. Then we'll walk through each of the four paths one by one, and finally, we'll see how, despite their differences, they all end up at the exact same destination.
Okay, first things first. Before we can even talk about walking these paths, we've got to understand the ground they're built on. We need to get really clear on the two fundamental qualities of mind that make this entire journey possible. Think of them as the twin pillars holding everything up. So let's break these two down. On one hand, you have samatha, which is all about tranquility. It's like letting all the mud and silt in a murky lake slowly settle to the bottom, leaving the water perfectly still and clear. It gives you stability. And then you have vipassana, or insight. This is the superpower of being able to see right through that now clear water all the way to the bottom, understanding exactly what's there. One builds focus, the other builds wisdom. You really need both. So, let's dive into our first path. This one starts with calm. The Pali term for this, samatha pubbangamam, literally means tranquility goes first, or calm leads the way. So this whole approach is about building a deep, solid foundation of stillness before anything else. This is a very methodical, step-by-step approach. You can think of it as being perfect for someone who really likes structure. First, you just focus on building that foundation of calm. You work on concentration exercises until your mind is steady, focused, and not easily disturbed. It's only from that quiet, stable platform that deep, profound insight can begin to bubble up naturally. Okay, now for path number 2. And as you can probably guess from the Pali, we're about to flip the script completely. This time, it's vipassana, or insight, that takes the lead. So with this path, you jump right into investigation. Instead of trying to quiet the mind first, you start by looking directly at reality, seeing how things are always changing, how they're interconnected. This might really click for someone with a more analytical or questioning mind. And what's so cool here is that the calm, it's a byproduct. As you see things more clearly, the mind just naturally lets go of its usual turmoil and finds its own peace. Now, path number 3 offers a totally different dynamic. This isn't about which comes first anymore. It's all about how these two qualities, calm and insight, can work together in perfect synergy right from the very beginning. And the key Pali word here, Yuganaddhakathā, just nails it. It means yoked together. And the classic image for this is perfect. Think of two oxen pulling a cart. They have to be in perfect sync, right? If one pulls ahead or the other lags behind, the whole thing goes off course. That's the heart of this third path. So what does this actually feel like in practice? It means that in any given moment, the mind is both calm and it's seeing clearly. The tranquility creates a space for deeper insight to arise, and that insight in turn cuts through the roots of agitation, which leads to even deeper tranquility. They're basically feeding each other constantly in this beautiful feedback loop. All right, let's get to our final path. And honestly, this one is maybe the most subtle and intriguing of them all. It deals with a very specific, high-level problem that can pop up for advanced practitioners. What happens when the mind gets agitated by the practice itself? I mean, think about it. You're meditating, you're going deep, and you start to have profound experiences, maybe brilliant lights, waves of joy, flashes of deep knowledge, all the good stuff, right? But what happens when the mind gets a little too excited about all this, when the feeling of progress itself becomes its own kind of subtle restlessness? Well, this state actually has a name. It's called Dhammodahaka. It's a very refined kind of agitation. The key here is for the practitioner to learn to see that even these incredible spiritual fireworks are, you guessed it, just more impermanent phenomena. That excitement isn't the goal, it's just one more thing to be observed with a calm, balanced mind.
The real breakthrough happens when you stop either fighting this excitement or getting carried away by it. You just see it for what it is. And then the text says there's this moment where the mind just settles. It becomes unified and finds its own center of gravity again. And right from that newfound stillness, the path forward opens up once more. Okay, so we've just looked at 4 paths that on the surface seem pretty different. But here's the most important part. It doesn't matter which road you take. They all lead to the exact same place. They all converge on one single life-altering outcome.
You see, these paths are just different strategies for doing the same job. And that job is to systematically take apart the psychological chains that keep us tied to dissatisfaction. In Pali, these are called the sanyojanani, or fetters, and the even deeper anasayani, or underlying tendencies.
And this process of freeing the mind isn't like flipping a light switch. It's not an all-or-nothing deal. It happens in stages. As someone progresses, very specific fetters get abandoned for good. You start with the coarser ones, like getting rid of the view of a fixed self, and you gradually work your way up to the most subtle ones, like the last traces of ignorance at the final stage of Arahantship. So to wrap it all up, we have 4 distinct, equally effective strategies. You can lead with calm, you can lead with insight, you can develop them together in perfect balance, or you can even find your way by skillfully navigating the subtle agitation that can arise in the practice itself. And this ancient teaching, it's so much more than just philosophy, right? It's a practical, flexible map of the mind's potential. It shows us there's no single right way, but rather multiple skillful approaches to the same incredible goal. And that really leaves us with a question to reflect on. In our own lives, in our own search for clarity, which of these paths feels most like home?